Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Alex and Rich here, and it's the time of the week, weekly fishing report. So let's get started. We got a couple things here. Nothing has really changed much up in this area for what I've heard.
Just the heat.
Just the heat. It kept getting hotter and hotter. So
Yep.
fishing wise, rockfish, I mean, we always talk about this. Once it's hot, it's not that great. It's for the fish, just for you, and you don't want to sit out there when it's 100 degrees.
Absolutely not.
And you know, I'm pretty sure you guys have researched a lot of things, and once the water temperature gets up to that 80-degree mark, it's pretty kind of, you know, not as good for the fish, especially, you know, stripers. So this week really hasn't changed much in this general area, Indianapolis area, in Northern Bay, except for, you know, a couple things of shallow water fishing down south. And when we're talking about down south, we're talking about pretty much like the middle of the bay, Hooper's Island, and below that, shallow water bite, meaning, you know, 10 foot of water to pretty much like 2 foot of water down there on the islands. Top water works really good in the morning. Besides that, you got a couple of lures like, you know, X-Wraps, jerk baits, all that kind of stuff that will work pretty good. But focusing more into this area, you really have to be out there early in the morning right now.
Yeah.
Usually, you know, I don't know, like early morning before the sun comes up.
Yeah, just about the sun up. That's usually a good time to start for fish anyway. They're a little more active,
Yeah.
part of that twilight zone anyway.
Right, and normally it's water temperature related. And, you know, if you do get a little bit of a temperature drop at night, it will actually kind of cool down a little bit, not much, but a little bit. So you got that window in the morning. Other than that, perch fishing has been pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you're looking for some shade, head into some of the creeks and find some shady creeks to fish in around the docks and whatnot for perch. Throw some tandem shad dart rigs and perch pounders when we got them, and you know, that's a fun time and kind of keeps you out of the heat sometimes too.
It's always a good safety net just to, you know, have a couple perch rods and, like he said, a couple lures. I know I personally, when the rock fishing sucks around the Bay Bridge, I always go just switch over to lighter tackle and start tearing up some perch, and that kind of saves the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, Bay Bridge pilings, Key Bridge actually is holding some good sized perch. I was there the other day, and I mean, they're pretty jumbo sized, like 11 to like 12.5 inches.
Nice.
Just dropping those Chesapeake rigs or like a double tandem rig. And I know you like these things.
Those things are fantastic.
They're Rich's favorite right here, and that's the perch darts.
And definitely don't discount the pink or the blue ones. They're a really good color. They contrast really well with our color, our water.
And you know, this time of the year, you get all kinds of different fish up here. I know myself a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, I was at the Bay Bridge pilings, and we ended up snagging bluefish on the Bay Bridge pilings just with those Chesapeake rigs, which it was weird, but they are here. Now, talking about bluefish, that's pretty much the new game in town right now. Something to kind of target out there, and I know we are always excited to see them at first, and then we start hating them because they start chopping up our baits.
Yeah,
and,
they do that.
you know, cutting off your lines and all that stuff. But a great way if you're, you know, wanting to cover water and go out for a booze cruise or just relax with the family, trolling. And then, you know, what a great way to do it with a spoonbrella here. You got a couple, this is a double drop, so you can actually get two of them in the same rig.
Yeah, and being that they're all metal, you're not going through a lot of tackle, which is really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice to not have to keep re-rigging plastics all the time.
And it's cheaper that way.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But other than that, places to go right now, I'll probably say, honestly, anywhere from the Bay Bridge south. The salinity level is pretty high up, so they're going to be running throughout the area. Other than that, it's a couple areas where I've heard they're actually pretty good, and they're kind of like congregate. Not that they sit there because they're bluefish, they're always running around. But they're in that general area. It's pretty much south of Poplar Island, like, you know, Eastern Bay, and down towards like the mouth of Chop Tank, Sharps Island, all those areas, or Sharps Light, and all those areas having some good bluefish running through there. That's one way to catch them trolling, and I will say try to troll the channel edges between, you know, probably 30 and shallower in there. So remember to keep this guy, you know, above your ground level on the bottom, because you don't want to get this snag down there. Another great way to actually catch them, this is my favorite way, is slide tackle, and that's with some of these elastic plastics. I know you guys talked about it last week. I like to go with some of the smaller profiles with like a 5-inch streaks, and even the 3 3.25 one, just because sometimes you have those bay anchovies out there, and they're a great way to, you know, target those smaller bluefish. Not even smaller, they're feeding on that small size. And they'll last forever.
Yeah, being stretchy, they're really, really durable and tough. They hold up to those toothy fish.
Right. I mean, I heard they always claim you catch like 100 fish on one bait, but you guys be the judge of that. So.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, we like to use some metals, right?
Absolutely. It stays in theme with not being chewed up, and they're really productive. They're hydrodynamic as all get out, so they're going to get down quick to where the fish are, and they have a nice flutter action to them. Yeah. I really do enjoy fishing metals when it comes to these kind of fish.
They're awesome. Keep a couple of those in the box and whatnot because, you won't go through as many baits. Now, a couple weird things always happening this time of the year in the bay.
Always.
And we've heard this, and this is down south, pretty much down towards the middle grounds, and there's been some reports of people actually hooking up to tarpon.
Yeah.
Which, the past few years has been like super weird, but they're there.
They're usually there. You usually find them down in the Virginia waters. It's not uncommon for them to be in the Chesapeake Bay, but definitely there are a lot more reports of them being seen farther north each year. So. And
this is bepretty much right out like Chrisfield's on this side, right in the middle there. Chrisfield right on the borderline with Virginia, and apparently the guys were trolling spoons like that for cobia and redfish. Yeah. There, we saw from one of our buddies on Facebook posted that video of big old tarpon out there being hooked, and it was a nice sized tarpon too. I mean,
it was.
I also heard reports of them down towards Watts Island, some smaller ones being hooked and jumped off. So always be on the lookout for that. That special occasion when you're out there. But cobia fishing too has been kind of on and off. I mean, I heard a lot of fish are starting to move up more towards like inside the Maryland waters, but same thing. For the past 2 weeks, it's just you see them, you're sight casting to them, and they won't hit.
Right.
So I honestly don't know what that's all about, but hopefully you'll pick up here in the next few weeks. And remember, eels. Yeah. Always, keep a few of those in there. Yeah. Throw them out there, and places to go for them. Point Lookout, run south, or around that area. That's where you want to go towards if you're on this side of the bridge. If you're on the other side of the bridge, probably Chrisfield will be. Chrisfield, any of those places to launch out of and go towards there. Other than that, speckled trout fishing, same kind of thing. Early morning. Closest, I'm going to say probably you'll start to see a couple of those fish being caught in the next few weeks here around Eastern Bay. Typically, this time of year, everything starts to move up here. Speckled trout, croakers, we really don't see them that much up here anymore. That's been a few years.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and remember, I personally think that those fish bites sometimes work a little bit better than the actual bloodworms.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys don't know that, I know we have a video where we show you all the baits and whatnot. So with that, fish bites it's a go-to for me. Yeah. Spot, croaker, pretty much everything hits a fish bite too.
Everything.
Yeah. So croakers are not fully here. You're gonna catch a few small ones. A lot of spot for you bottom fishermen. Perch. Catfish, always around here. You can't get rid of those things now. So they're all throughout here. And like I said, pretty much trout, small jig heads fishing close to shore.
Yep.
And what do you like to pair those up with? Just a couple?
Either a bustin' bait or a BKD, or sometimes I like putting little paddle tails on them. The paddle tails are a lot of fun to fish. You can kind of just give them a nice slow retrieve. You don't have to give them as much action as you do when you're jigging on a jerk bait, which is nice.
And besides that, I mean, hopefully the temperatures kind of ease down a little bit.
Hopefully.
And we could have some good tides coming up here, and mainly temperature. Yeah. That's the biggest thing with that. Same thing for snakehead fishing for you guys out there. I know it hasn't been an awesome year for a lot of us, but it's just that temperature. If you're not out there early in the morning, your water temperature in Blackwater's like 99 degrees. And that's black bottom water, so you don't want to be out there in the middle of the day.
Definitely not.
But crabbing wise, I mean, I think we've heard a couple things on the Severn.
A few.
Magothy. Pretty much going to say 5-6 foot of water. Finding those breaks between the clay and some sandy bottoms, you'll be able to get those crabs. Pretty much. I will go same thing early morning.
Yep.
And you need some tide movement, so definitely check out some of those tides, because if not, I'm pretty sure it works better when you have some movement on that water too.
Yeah, moving water is always important.
Yeah. But a couple of things besides that, Rockfish Closure.
Yes.
It's coming up, and that is, I believe, August 16th.
Yep. To the end of August.
End of August. So remember, it's better to not target them, even now when it's that hot.
Yeah.
It's better to just target them early and then kind of leave them alone for a little bit.
Yeah, in that hotter water, you get less oxygen for them, and it's just not as healthy for them. And so, change focus, go after some of the perch, go after some of the toothy guys like our hopefully the mackerel are moving up by then, and definitely change course on that if you can.
Yeah, focus on something. This is more towards the future. Try to save some of them and keep the fishery going. Of course, that closure's coming up, and he was saying mackerel, they're moving up. Haven't really heard too much way up here like last year for this time of the year. It was amazing fishery. Right now, I think we've heard of a few right off Eastern Bay, but nothing crazy. You really still have to move your way down towards Breezy Point and below that. But I think that's it for our fishing report this week. Keep it updated. Send us your pictures and everything. You guys keep the reports coming, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a good one.